24 years ago today, America's sense of security was shattered by coordinated terrorist attacks in New York and Washington. Every year since that monstrous day, we as a country have paused to say, never forget. For millions of Americans, September 10th, 2025 will be a day they will never forget, a moment when a political figure they admired and were inspired by was murdered in public, doing nothing more provocative than engaging in public debate on a university campus amid a sun-splashed day in one of the most beautiful parts of the great American West. That crime encroached on President Trump's security arrangements today. An open-air speech was moved to a protected space inside the Pentagon. Members of Congress canceled future public events. There was a bomb scare at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. Several historically black colleges and universities were locked down due to threats. Others closed as a precaution. There were, of course, heartfelt calls for unity, but the air remained and remains tense with fear of what may happen next, not unlike the day and days after 9/11. We are today, as we were then, a shocked and shaken nation, though for decidedly different reasons. And at this hour, the hunt for Kirk's assassin continues, leaving all manner of questions unanswered. A law enforcement press conference scheduled for this afternoon has been indefinitely delayed, suggesting a break may soon come. With what we know now, we turn to Andres Gutierrez, who joins us from Orem, Utah. Andres, what can you tell us about the latest?
Well, Major, there is indeed a massive dragnet out here in the state of Utah searching for this gunman. Yesterday, the governor, Spencer Cox, called this a political assassination, and today, state and federal law enforcement made it clear that this was a targeted attack. Yesterday, they questioned two individuals, but those individuals were cleared. Investigators today say they believe they have recovered the murder weapon used in the assassination. It is a imported Mauser bolt-action rifle. That is a hunting gun that is typically used to hunt deer. It only fires a single shot at a time, and police say they found it near a wooded area near the campus here at Utah Valley University. It was wrapped in a towel. They also found a shoe print and even a palm print, and those are now being tested for DNA as well as for fingerprints. We are also learning about how all of this unfolded. Just 8 minutes before noon yesterday, the suspect took stairs to a rooftop of a building, the Lowe Center here, and ended up taking a sniper's position about 400 yards away from where Mr. Kirk was speaking, and fired that single shot. And then, according to law enforcement, he did a little bit of parkour. He ended up going to the opposite side of the building, the rooftop, and then jumping off of it and running into a nearby neighborhood. And so right now, investigators say that they have been canvassing that neighborhood, looking for any Ring doorbell or other home security footage that may lead them to get a better sense of who this individual is. And they are asking for the public's help. In fact, they have now offered a $100,000 reward, putting some cash to this to try and compel some people to come forward and give this guy up so he can be brought to justice.
Andres, we've also learned very recently that the U.S. Marshal Service has joined the manhunt, and there were releases from authorities earlier today of images of the suspected gunman. True?
Absolutely, and the FBI have released those two surveillance images that have gone viral, just like those graphic images of Mr. Kirk's death went viral yesterday. The images of the person who allegedly did this also going viral today. It shows a young man, possibly college age, wearing a dark baseball cap, sunglasses, and a black long-sleeve T-shirt. Officials have not released a name. Very likely at this point in the investigation that they do have a name. And so, but again, they are trying to keep some things close to the vest, not to, ruin the integrity of this investigation. But they are telling folks that if you recognize this guy, pick up the phone, do the right thing, give him a call.
Andres Gutierrez, with all the details from Orem, Utah, I'm very grateful. Thank you. CBS News national security contributor Samantha Vinograd joins me now. Samantha, we have a lot of details, but we have a lot we don't know. What does it mean to you in particular that the manhunt continues?
Well, we now understand that additional assets have been deployed at the federal level to assist with the manhunt. You just mentioned the U.S. Marshals. The U.S. Marshals are the lead federal agency for fugitive investigations. So we understand the investigation is progressing. What we don't yet know, Major, is whether the threat to the public has been neutralized. Oftentimes in these kinds of situations, if a suspect is still at large, there may still be a threat to the public. And the fact that there hasn't been a press conference to answer that question one way or another could really lead to feelings of unease in the community.
And there is also a sense there in Utah, with the delay of this scheduled press conference, that things may be moving at a rather rapid pace.
Yes, and state and local and federal law enforcement all make individual calls about how regularly to update the public. But the more reliable information that's provided in these kinds of situations to the public, even if it's to say the investigation is ongoing, we don't have a name, but we've found a footprint or we found a handprint or something, can help the public feel like they have access to information and that they're not in the dark.
There is a forensic investigation on the footprint, on the weapon recovered, and also a digital investigation into whatever they may know about this suspect that they have yet to release but are gathering themselves, correct?
Certainly, and we should anticipate that those photos were run through law enforcement data sets and that facial recognition perhaps was not successful in identifying the individual.
Hence the request for the public for any
Yes,
assistance.
and that maybe because the individual is wearing glasses or because this individual was not or is not known to law enforcement. Now, when you release a photo like that, law enforcement knows that the public may be the best position to provide tips on this individual, especially with the advent of social media, but it also means law enforcement is going to be deluged potentially with false information and false leads. So there's going to be a lot of incoming to law enforcement right now. They're used to dealing with these kinds of situations as they try to get an identity.
Samantha, you have extensive experience, not just with particular places and threats, but the national spectrum on that. And I summarize some of the things that transpired today, all of which create an atmosphere of heightened security and anxiety.
Well, certainly in the aftermath of such a horrific, high-profile, violent event, we are in an even more heightened threat environment. Bad actors of all kinds may feel inspired to act after this kind of incident because of the high-profile nature, the media attention that it's getting, and because they may feel like this kind of incident is becoming normalized in American culture. At the same time, the risk of copycat attacks is higher, as well as potential retaliatory attacks. And law enforcement is certainly on heightened alert. We've seen security officials up the ante around a range of protectees.
And it could be something as an action, which is terrible and menacing, or a phoned-in threat that has nothing behind it, but nevertheless sends people scattering.
Yes, and making false threats is not permissible in this country.
It is a crime.
It is a crime, and they will be investigated. I've dealt with all sorts of bomb threats and hoaxes against college campuses, against officials, and more, and they will be investigated.
Samantha Vinograd, thank you very much. I appreciate it.